Senator Wesley Gibbings.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this opportunity to rise in support of the Probation of Offenders Amendment Bill 2026. But at the same time, to register what I would like to describe as a few reality checks. Because I don't think there's need for any more legalistic pedantry on the issue. We've heard quite a lot of it this afternoon. Not to decry that in any way. It's not my professional discipline, and I have high regard for people who can engage at that level. But on this occasion, I don't think that there's much more of that that's required. Neither do I think it incumbent on me to regurgitate any of the well-informed commentaries and observations regarding the value of probation. There's no doubt about it. There's high value in it. And the minister has also gone so far as to locate the measures in this bill within the context of a suite of laws. So it's not just this. There's a lot more to come. And we should all welcome this, but at the same time recognize our partial for implementation deficits. The how, the what is clear. And Senator Murray went into some detail regarding the deficits that we are likely to confront when it comes to implementation. Now, from the very beginning this afternoon, I thought that this conversation could have begun because much earlier, during the question time, we spoke about the rights and responsibilities of children and the protection of children. And perhaps if we were to frame this debate, we could have begun at the very start, at question time, when there was expressed concern for children, their rights, their protection, because things really start there. From my vantage point, there are key contexts that need to be fed into consideration of this bill. Because for sure, the incidence of recidivism has already been substantially addressed. Nobody has disagreed with that. And in fact, the 2020 study cited by the minister in his introduction of the bill is very instructive. But because they basically concluded that Caribbean-wide, the average is in the vicinity of 41%, which is pretty serious stuff. I would be interested to see, because that study was conducted, I think, between 2018 and 2019, and the report was completed in 2020. This is in the pre-COVID era. I would like to see what would be the result of a study now in 2026 going forward. We might be looking at a completely different set of data to analyze. Now, what is clear from all of this, if we look at it in this way, recidivism, the role of imprisonment, and so on, we can conclude quite safely that more jail don't mean less crime. That it has not worked that way. More jail doesn't mean, does not produce the kind of preventative measure that's required to keep crime down. Now, don't make no mistake about it. If you commit crime, you need to be punished. And imprisonment is one form of punishment. The bill establishes that, but it provides an option, albeit a second option. So probation, in the context of the bill, is secondary to imprisonment. So is it clause 5? Provides the option of probation in addition to or in lieu of a prison sentence. So there's still an express preference for jail. Jail them, lock them up. Which leads me to the next part of my observation, or the other reality check, which is the fact of inequity in our society and our socio-economic circumstances. We are also living in a time when the country operates as if we're under siege. Whether we express it in measures of states of emergency or other measures, extreme measures, there's a perception out there that we're under siege and something needs to be done. Lock them up, kill them even. So there's an interpretation of contemporary legislative interventions, which is that it provides pathways for locking them up, putting them away, killing them even. And that's a sad, sorry state of affairs in my view. It is the kind of situation that has produced pervasive fear, grief, and most of all, and most dangerously, anger. It is the kind of situation that leads to revenge being mistaken for justice. You know what I'm talking about? The notion of an eye for an eye, which invariably results in states of national sightlessness. And we're headed there unless we intervene. Now, the bill can be interpreted as one of those measures that would provide us with options on this subject of punishment or righting wrongs that are occurring in our society. But let's make no joke about it. Let's not be in denial. Our current circumstance is one in which people feel that we're under siege, we're in danger, people are fearful. There's abundant grief. You look about, I'm in the field of journalism and we confront this on a daily basis, all the time. There are people in grief. And the product of this is this anger, so we need to, in my view, as leaders in our society, generate messages of hope. Messages that suggest that we have an understanding of what people are dealing with. In that context, the bill is very relevant because the bill is concerned with a notion of restorative justice, which is a guiding principle, and it must form an indispensable feature of all the interventions when we deal with addressing the problem of crime. So we don't just stop at punishment. We take aim at issues such as addressing the harm caused to individual and community victims, and that point was made earlier by Senator Al-Rawi. And it's not to be ignored that the harm caused to individuals and communities need to be included in this notion of restorative justice. In fact, it's implicit in the notion of restorative justice that there is a concern about the people who have been victimized, the rehabilitation of offenders, and the collective efforts of the entire society. Then we also need, I think, in the entire package of interventions, consider the impact on economic opportunity and communal integration, the integration of those people who have gone through the system and who have been punished and who have been prepared. And again, we have to be concerned about the implementation deficit and the role of probation officers and other professionals. This is not just a matter for police, lawyers, court, and jail. I said at the very start, I suggested that I would be mercifully brief, so I'm going to end on this point, which is good that these measures have to be recognized as just one component of a far-reaching suite, not only of legislation, but other kinds of social interventions to address some of the fundamental challenges that we face as a small developing country. But this bill, as I said, enjoys my support, and I get from the Assembly today, enjoys the support of others, but we need to recognize this as one very small but significant step forward on this issue. I want to thank you very much.
Senator Sanjay Fukudo.